When all else fails, read the instructions very carefully. It looks like there's going to be some assembly required on this guy. We got the wheels, baby! Oily. All right, this is the motor. That's gonna be something for the wheels. These are greased up. This is pretty heavy. It's the hydraulic system. All right, we got everything unboxed. Now it's time for the instructions. The splitter we're working with today is the Champion 9-ton splitter. I bought it at Home Depot for $700. And as you open everything up, you'll notice something that you've been really waiting for is the chance to order Champion swag. Also, they give you stickers. Once you got everything out of the box, the first thing you gotta do is put the wheels together. There are 2 cotter pins and 2 washers. We will now assemble the support leg. To do this, you're gonna flip the beam upside down, and these bolts are gonna go right there. You'll notice that this bracket is cheated to one side of the beam. That's the side you're gonna mount this foot plate to, and then the bolts are gonna go through the holes. It goes washer, locking washer, nut. Sing it with me now. Washer, locking washer, nut. I'm using a 9/16 and a 14mm to get this job done. We're gonna now move things to the ground because we're gonna put the wheels on the beam. There are 4 bolt patterns on the bottom of the beam here used to mount the axle to the beam. The axle has multiple mounting holes through it because you're gonna eventually also mount the engine to it. So we're gonna take this thing and the flat spot is gonna go down. This edge needs to be on the rear edge. And then this little D cutout here needs to not be covered up by the beam. When you mount the beam to the axle, it takes these bolts, the ones with the hex heads. These take a number 8 Allen key, locking washer first. Now that the beam is on the axle, we're gonna flip it over. Not that you shouldn't be proud of yourself just yet, but you're only halfway done. The engine takes these guys right here, M8 bolts, and a washer and a locking washer. When you place this on, you want the pull cord to be on the forward side of the beam, not facing the rear of the machine. The bolts and everything assemble from the bottom. Washer, locking washer, bolts. You can sink those home with a 14mm. Well, the wheels might fall off, but the engine won't. Last bit of hardware is now used to install the cylinder. You have these little brackets and these 4 bolts, washers and locking washers. Things are starting to get real. washer, a locking washer bolt. Here are the brackets. They go right here to hold the cylinder from sliding out. Gonna need a new wrench. A 17 millimeter does the trick on these bolts. And your hydraulic linear actuator would not be so linear without the other side. The handle on the cylinder is detached, so that way it fits in the box right. You'll notice that there's a little pin and cotter pin here and a hole. You gotta put that back in. Beautiful. This is the ram. This is what the hydraulic press pushes the wood up against the blade down here with. This guy goes on these grooves and slides all the way down before it's then mounted to the hydraulics. Put it down first on the beam at the very end and then slide it. It being mounted on this groove prevents it from lifting up. Unscrew this bolt and screw it into the hydraulic. This here is the handle. It's got a cotter pin in on the end and it just slides right through here. Now that we're done the mechanical section, we need to start looking at the hydraulic section, installing some hoses and clamps. There are 2 ports on the beam. One is threaded and one just has a little lip on it. The one with the lip on it, that's when we're putting the hose on. Okay, putting on that hose is a pain in the butt. It's dry and it just will not get on there very easily. So here's the trick. The other mating side that you have to go to, this guy right here. Pop the red cap off and there'll be some oil that'll drip out a little bit. Put your finger in there and get some oil on it and lube the inside of the hose, and then the hose slides on a lot easier. Remember to put the clamps on before you put both sides of the tube on. That tube definitely got the best of me. Last 2 hoses to put in. This one goes right there. Need a big boy for this one. This last guy goes right here on the top of the beam. Whew. Okay, I think we're on to adding fluids now. The machine doesn't come with any fluids, so make sure you have motor oil, gas, and hydraulic fluid. I didn't have hydraulic fluid, just had to run up to Lowe's to grab some. We're gonna put that in right now, and then we'll be ready to go. Bone dry. We're in Alaska and it's cold outside, so we're going 5W30. Now it's time to test it. Here's the kill switch. This is the gas shutoff valve. And this is the choke. If you get a slow return, it's probably from low hydraulic fluid. The return pipe will have air in it if that's the case. The solution is to add more fluid. Yep,
That's what we're looking for.
Years ago, a beetle came through and annihilated a bunch of the spruce in Alaska. For that reason, there's a bunch of standing dead. A lot of it finds its way into a wood stove. As you can see, the 9-ton was plenty enough for the spruce. The 9-ton splitter, I'm pretty confident. Spruce or pine, it's no match. Birch and aspen are some of the hardest woods that we have up in Alaska, naturally found for burning in a wood stove. Birch and aspen are pretty similar.
I noticed a small leak in the beam. I also noticed that I wasn't on flat ground. Once I leveled the machine, it stopped leaking. For the price, this is a pretty darn good machine.